All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. We are super stoked to get the party started, and let's start with kind of a feeling. And if you ever felt like real estate should be simpler, if you ever felt that real estate should be simpler, you're in the right room. Because just imagine that you work 10-hour days, uh, it still felt broke at the end of the month, or you have a full pipeline of business, but nothing on the board. We've all been there, and that stops today. So thank you for being here.
Awesome. Welcome. We are, per the title, Master the Money Making Basics, 3 ways to get paid in 90 days. So in the chat, I love seeing where you all are from. In the chat, let's give a show of hands. Who wants to get paid in the next 30 days? Who would like a paycheck in their bank account, a closing that's going to get them some commission in the next 90 days? Awesome. I love it. I love the numbers just climbing. Good, because that's what we're going to focus on today. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 3 things today. But before we do that, let's introduce ourselves. Who are we? Why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Matt Marsoupian. I'm here with my great friend and partner, Lee Rosa. I am celebrating 21 years in this business of real estate. I don't know any better, for good or bad. I started in real estate right after college. I worked in new construction. I started with the largest home builder in the country, and it's been an incredible journey since. I've worked in new construction, as I said. I've worked with builders all across the country, as well as property management. Navigated the 2008, 2009, 2010 meltdown, especially being here in Metro Detroit, which I'm from, born and raised. And I've owned a brokerage. Ran a team. I've been a solo agent, and I've also I've been a productivity coach for many years before getting into business with Glover U about 4 years ago. And for the past 2 years, I've had the distinct pleasure of working alongside, many of you know, Taylor Kerrigan and Jeff Glover at the Glover Agency here in Metro Detroit, where we are one of the largest real estate teams in the state of Michigan. We just surpassed our 500th closing of the year. And we are really proud of that because we have a very incredible group of high producing agents. Our per agent production is very high, and we love training and bringing on new agents. And that's why Sales Rocket Coaching and topics like this are right in my wheelhouse to do with Lee, because I am doing it here on our team and winning at it at a high level.
Love that. Love that, Matt. Let's not apologize for being awesome. And so I am Lee Rosa. I am born and raised in South Florida. Ran track and cross country Division I for the University of Central Florida, and started my career in Orlando, and got in the business at 25 years old, and 2005. So I got in, learned all the right way of selling real estate just for the market to go sideways. And around 2,000 closings under my belt, and formed a business partnership back in 2010 with my still business partner, Ralph Goicoria. We have been business partners 15 years, with me stepping out of production for the last 9, with us averaging 85 closings a year through that time. And I'll tell you, a market adjustment excites me so much. I'm back in the trenches and gonna play in the sandbox with all of us again. And I had so much fun in 2008, 9, 10, and 11, and I can't allow all of you to have the fun without me. So I have built a brokerage from 135 to 200, one the highest net profit year over year in the region and company that I had the opportunity to lead. And last but not least, Priscilla, who's been running our real estate business on the operational side, has been with us 13 years. And I share that because culture is a verb, and how you build a business the right way with the fundamentals is why Matt and I built the course Sales Rocket Coaching, and we're going to share with you today 3 fundamentals for you to get back into the flow of closing transactions consistently. And Matt, every agent that we've helped get to 6 figures did it by mastering the basics, not chasing the next best thing. And when you and I put our thoughts together in writing this, we called this mastering the money making basics for a reason. And the reason is because to get paid in business isn't about knowing more. To get paid in business is not about knowing more. It's about doing the right things over and over and over again the right way. The basics, the fundamentals, the things that never stop working, Matt. You just have to keep doing them. And so we're going to say these things over and over again today. Mastering the basics, execute with consistency. That's how you get paid. Mastering the basics, execute with consistency, and that's how you get paid.
You know, when Lee and I think about all of the ways that we see agents running around across North America like a chicken with their head cut off, it's not that they're not doing work. It's that they're doing too much of the wrong work. And not enough of the stuff they're doing is actually making them money. They've went away from the fundamentals. So what we want you to walk away with today is knowing exactly what to focus on right now. This isn't theory. These are 3 core principles that we've helped many agents execute on that are going to get you a paycheck, because that's what's about, focus. So here's your roadmap. We're going to dive into these in a little bit. First of all, knowing exactly who to call and when. There's lots of ways to get business and buyers and sellers, and we've developed a tool. Many of you have probably seen it, called the Path to Payday. It's going to identify all of the different sources that you can get business on, but it'll allow you to focus on the who, and then we'll talk about the why. The next, we want to talk about how to turn your database into a #1 source of closings. Most agents are talked about from the day that they start. You have to have a database. You have to have a database, and many of us have slapped together one, but it's not something that's working in our favor. And lastly, and this is a big one, and Jeff is a huge proponent of, skills. Identifying and mastering the skills that you specifically need to convert, to get to closings, to have repeat referral clients. At the fundamental, we are salespeople. And the minute we get away from our skills and mastering them, there's nothing else we could be doing. So by the end of the session, we want you to have a plan. We want you to focus on and have clarity on those 3 things. Not ideas and just theory, but an actual plan, so that you can get into action today, this afternoon, this week, to get you one step closer to that paycheck. You may be a real estate agent who loves gathering information, and you may have heard the term knowledge is power. This is a myth. Knowledge and action is power. And that's what we're going to try to give to you. Not just the knowledge, but how to take action with it. Because it's not just about doing more. You open Instagram, there's no shortage of things that you should be doing. Agents in a position where they need a paycheck don't necessarily need to be doing more. You need to be focusing on the right activities. And as Lee said earlier, have consistency with them. That's what's going to get you a paycheck. So let's break it down, Lee. The first thing that we kind of teased and that we're going to talk about, it's a tool. It's a tool, and it's a graphic, and I love visuals, but it's a tool called the Path to Payday. Now, if you've ever been at one of our events, you've probably seen this. I think a few years ago, Kate introduced it to us and put it on the screen. Because one of the things that we hear from agents often, whether they're new or they've been doing this for a long time, is, well, my business has just kind of come to me, and unfortunately, Past 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, the phone's just not ringing like it used to be. The leads aren't just coming in, and I may have to proactively reach out to some people. But here's the problem they tell us, Lee. I don't I know that I need to reach out to people, but like who? Who do I call? Like what do I say? But like who do I call? It's gonna give me business in the next 90 days.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, so here's what I've seen in offices all around the country. We get into the office. Today's going to be the day that I start speaking to people consistently. So get in the office and you pop open your database, your CRM, and you organize it. You move your leads from here to here, and then you move them over here on the desk, and then you pop open the MLS and you hop around there for a little bit because the MLS feels pretty comfortable. And we're gonna later have an opportunity to possibly show these homes. So let me do some research on the MLS. And then suddenly let's pull open Instagram and Facebook and scroll through because that's lead generation. We're gonna scroll through and see what everyone's doing for inspiration. And then it's noon, and then the day got away from us. Because here's what Matt and I know the truth: confusion is the enemy of consistency. Confusion is the enemy of consistency. I'm looking in the chat, and
I saw it too. This is a webinar not designed to one person, although I completely respect that you feel that this resonates with you.
for sure, for sure. And so confusion is the enemy of consistency. And so if you know where your business is coming from, if you know where to call, who to call, you if you don't know, taking action becomes energy. So if you can remove who you need to call, we're already putting more energy in a forward direction. Because what we know is if you don't take consistent, purposeful action, we don't get paid in this business. And this is where the path to payday comes in. It is a tool built for clarity because it answers two questions. One, who should I be talking to today? Who should I be talking to today? Where will I be taking a listing from? Who do I call to take a listing? Who do I call to set a buyer consultation? And what should I be saying? So number two is what should I be saying to move the needle towards a paycheck? So the path to payday answers two questions. One, who should I be talking to? And two, what should I be saying to move the needle closer to a paycheck? Because the path to payday is prioritizing the right conversations that lead to income now. Because here's what we know: not all leads, not all sources are created equal. Some will make you feel accomplished, while others will lead to conversations that set appointments today and get you paid in 30 to 45 days. Because in real estate, there's a simple truth that there are two types of people in the world, only two. Two: people who you know and people who you don't know. The people who we know are your sphere, your friends, your family, your past clients, your database, which could be agents, and your agent referrals. See, the fundamental in converting these types of sources is a term that is so powerful. And I encourage you, if you're taking notes, to write it down. to create emotional proximity. The fundamental in converting the people who you know is to create emotional proximity. And the definition of emotional proximity is whoever is closest to a lead when they are ready to do business. Whoever's closest to a lead when the lead is ready to do business gets the sale. So the purpose of a CRM, the purpose of building a database, the purpose of building systems, leveraging the path to payday is so that you're in emotional proximity with as many humans as possible, so that when they think of real estate, they think of you. And so we use this technique to generate repeat referral business with the people who already know us. I love that. And every conversation with someone who we know, every conversation with the people who we know should end with one of three things. Number one, an appointment. Number two, a referral from that conversation. And at the very least, number three, solidify the relationship. So that's the model around the people who we know, creating emotional proximity and every conversation ending with either an appointment, a referral, or at the very least, solidifying the relationship. Then there's the people who you don't know in the path to payday. And that's for sale by owners, expireds, open houses, circle prospecting, online leads. Make no mistake, these require courage, skill, and dialogues that work. They move you faster and build consistency in our business when done with consistency, schedule, accountability, and structure.
Love it. I love it. If you are hearing Lee and you're thinking about, gosh, there's a lot of people that I know, but for whatever reason, those people are not giving you the amount of appointments you need to reach the income that you're looking for. We have to step out of our comfort zone. We have to look at that path to payday and say, oh, what do I have to do to connect with more people in the people that I don't know group? Because there are basically three factors that are part of lead generation, particularly when you're talking about people that you don't know. Number one, it's the approach type. Is it proactive or is it passive? Proactive looks like reaching out on the phone. Some people call it cold calling. Passive is just sending an email out, just waiting for people to kind of respond to the letter that you sent, the billboard that you put, or the post that you put out there. So is this lead source that I'm looking at, whether it's expired, for sale by owner, open house, is it proactive or is it passive? Number two is the skill gap. We all have skill gaps. If I try to play soccer with my son, you can clearly see my skill gap. A skill gap is, what are you missing that if you had it, you would crush that lead source? A script. I saw someone ask, what's the script? We believe me, we would love to get into it today and give you hours of scripts. You'll get all of that if you join Sales Rocket Coaching, or to go to gloveru.com and download the free resources. Whenever we're talking about a source, there's a skill gap. There's a skill gap that you must identify and master. And then number three, the conversion ratio. As Lee said, not all leads are created equal. Not all opportunities are the same. I could go to the grocery store and I could talk to 1,000 people and I might find one. That's not a good use of my time. So instead, let's look at the conversion ratios that are going to give us the lowest amount of contacts needed for an appointment set. In order to make a sale, how many contacts do I need and this source. Having clarity around that is going to help you as you sit down and, as we had described, decide what are you going to do today. So if you're not earning what you want right now financially, or know that you're capable of doing more, it really boils down to you're either talking to the wrong people or you're simply not talking to enough people. So I want you to ask yourself, and in Sales Rocket Coaching, we give you what we call an activity sheet, a lead sheet each day. Identify in your business plan, how many real estate conversations do you need to hit your income goal? Real estate is a math equation. When we work backwards, depending on the amount of money that we want to earn, we can identify how many people do I need to talk to? Do you come into your office? Do you start your day with understanding that bogey that you need to hit? Now, are there people out there that can help you with that goal? Who are the people that you're going to be contacting? And are you spending time where your potential paycheck is highest or where you're just the most comfortable? We're going to make sure that the Path to Payday is uploaded to the Facebook group. I purposely held out in doing it because I wanted you guys to go directly there after this call and download that and take a look at it. And you're going to see the breakdown, the conversion rates, whether it's passive or proactive. And I want you to think about your skills, a skill audit, which we're going to talk about shortly, in terms of what you need to work on in order to convert these at a high level. This is where a lot of agents are stuck. We talked about, I don't know who to call. I don't know what to say. We want to give you those tools, but first you have to understand that if you're not getting the type of business that you want from the people that you know, we have to jump into the people that we don't know pond. Mm. This is the type of clarity that we're going to give you every week inside Sales Rocket Coaching. The scripts, the dialogues, the objection handlers, not theory, the fundamentals, the things that have been working for agents since real estate started. This is what's working. When we avoid the noise and all the things, the newest things, and we really boil it down to the fundamentals, and you are doing these things consistently, that's where you're going to start reaching your goals. And if you're hearing us and you know you have to make a change, but it sounds a little uncomfortable, that's a good sign, because it means you're about to step into the kind of action that's going to lead you to a paycheck sooner than doing the same old thing that you've been doing.
Yeah. So to round out, number one in getting paid in the next 90 days is understanding the fundamental that there's two types of people in the world: people who you know and people who you don't know. Once you have a conversation with everyone that you know and they are not ready, which is perfectly okay, to buy, sell, or invest in real estate today, we now have to make an adjustment to speak with people we don't know. And that is fundamentally, based on math, the only way we will get compensated in the next 90 days. And so this tool called the Path to Payday gives you absolute clarity around who to call and what the ideal conversion ratios should be to convert. Whereas circle prospecting will have a far less conversion per conversation than a for sale by owner or an expired, because the expired and the for sale by owner are farther down the funnel because they have already raised their hand and have said, I want to sell my home. Which brings us to number two, the second point, which is the problem we're trying to solve here is that, Matt, I have a database, but it's not generating business for me. It's not paying me. And that's where we bring in the idea that most agents have hundreds, even sometimes thousands of people in their database. Some don't have a database at all. And either way, very few are actually earning from it. I mean, they got names, they have phone numbers, they even have past clients and old leads. Heck, even people from an open house that they held a month ago. In other words, the word database or CRM becomes a dumping ground. And yet, if closings aren't consistently coming from a database, they're coming from hustle. They're coming from luck or random referrals. Why? Because if a database is not optimized, it's a contact list. If a database is not optimized, it's simply a list of human names, phone numbers, maybe some emails, maybe some home addresses. It is not a money-making machine.
I'm chuckling a little bit. Jennifer commented, my database is a bummer. What did we talk about earlier? Clarity. Let's do something about it. Because here's something that I need you to know. I need you to understand this. It's a hard truth. It's a hard truth because even some of the best of us with these databases have gathered and cultivated. Here's the hard truth that I need you to understand. Everyone in your database is also in another realtor's database. Let me say that again. These aren't people that are 100% loyal to you just because they're in your database. You see, when we talk about database and we talk about it being a generator of business, there was something called the 10% rule. Now, the 10% rule said that annually you can anticipate a real estate transaction out of 10% of your database. In other words, if you had 100 people, if you worked it correctly, you could get 10 transactions out of it. 10%. Now, fast forward, we are in a digital age. We don't just have connections based on a Rolodex. There's social media, there's mass advertising. So this 10% rule has shifted to more like 8%. In other words, less people in your database are going to be loyal and just call you when they need to buy or sell or refer someone. And not to be a fearmonger, but this could be 6% in the future, or 5%, or 4%. My point in saying this is that it's not enough just to gather a dumping ground, like Lee said. You have to have a plan around the people that are in this database. We have to help build a moat around them. And we do that with a plan. You know, Lee mentioned this note that I wrote down, which is your database is like a gym membership. And I kind of love this. Who's got a gym membership they've paid for and haven't gone in a while? It only works. Your database only works if you show up. If you show up in it, you follow a plan, you track the results, you work it daily. Because if you're sitting there saying, I've got a database and I'm expecting income from it, or I've gotten income from it in the past, but now suddenly that's dried up, it's probably because you haven't been consistently engaging with the people that are in there. Think systems and models. If you're not converting 8%, 10%, or even 6%, let's give yourself a little bit of grace here. If you're not getting this into your business, into your closings each year, you're either working the wrong system or you simply don't have a system. Now, clarity is power. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to bring light that if you want a paycheck in the next 90 days, we have to have a plan around the relationship that you have with the people that are in your database, a plan around how do we get into emotional proximity. Many of you have heard Taylor Kerrigan talk and heard Glover Yu share our database plans. This is a plan. It's a system that allows you to touch and provide value to your people week after week, month after month, year after year. We have to give something in order to get. Think of it like a data bank. Database equals data bank. I can't just go to the bank and take money out. I first have to make a deposit. And with your database or your data bank, the more deposits you make, the more returns you can expect to receive out of it. So what's a deposit? I hear you, Matt. I got this big old list of people here, but how can I make deposits into it? Infotaining emails, a phone call or text, an item of value, an invitation to an event. We can't just sit around expecting this big old list of people that we've accumulated to give us business if we're not giving them anything. Your database, I look at the agents on our team, I look at our overall team numbers. Your database should be the number one source of business, but only if you treat it that way. Again, think data bank. The more deposits you're making, the larger the withdrawals you're going to be able to receive.
Love that. And Inside Sales Rocket Coaching, Module 5. Module 5 of 24. We talk about a simple tagging and segmentation strategy to prioritize and segment your database. Think of a rhythm-based follow-up system, which is touches with purpose, scripts, text, email templates that generate responses, tracking tools so you know who's engaging and who's not. Guys and gals, this is how you turn your database from a project into a pipeline.
So for all of you that this resonated with, talking action, open it up, go through. Don't just cherry pick the people that you know you're going to enjoy taking your call. Build a plan around it. Who are you touching regularly? Who are you giving deposits to? All right, Lee, we're rounding out the three things that we wanted to cover today with the last one. And this is a funky one. Why is it funky? Because it's skills. And as Jeff says this often, and I don't really know, when I got into real estate, it was without a doubt very much clear to me that this was a sales position. And what makes a great salesperson? Well, I used to think it was the way they dressed or the car that they drove. What I came to find out, because I was humbled very, very quickly, is that skills are the separator. I'll never forget my first interaction with the salesperson that had a response to everything that a client said, had a way to overcome every objection, just like butter. Because skills are the separator. Whether you've been doing this for 1 year and you don't know any better, or you've been doing this for 20 years, we have the opportunity to improve our skills constantly. Because if you're sitting here saying, all right, Matt, I'm doing that. I do that database thing. Or Lee, I call expireds. I call for sale by owners. I'm already doing what you said you're doing. Awesome. That's great that you're already making the calls, that you're already hosting the open houses, that you're even setting appointments right now. Like, that's amazing. Now, when it comes time to get a paycheck, are you finding that those leads are ghosting you that you're following up with? You can't figure out why? Or the buyer that you've shown homes for the past 24 months suddenly flakes on you? Or that the listing appointment that you went on didn't go great and all of a sudden you see it pop up listed by another agent? Or the house that you took the listing on and you maybe, I couldn't get the seller to come to my price, but we're going to get it sold. It's suddenly sitting on the market unsold. Everyone, I want you to hear us. This is not a work ethic problem. You're hustling, you're grinding. We know you're working hard. It's a skills problem. And the sooner you look in the mirror and you say, I can do better, I can be better, the better you're going to be able to convert, the better you're going to be able to get a commission in the next 90 days, the better you're going to be able to stop blaming the market. It's frustrating, guys. Lee and I understand. We're in market centers and brokerages where agents are showing up every single day, working, putting in the hours, talking to people, going on appointments, even signing contracts. But you're not seeing it reflected in your closings. Here's the reality that no one wants to admit in real estate, and I wish it wasn't true. We do not get paid to work.
Mm.
We don't. I don't, there's no time clock on my wall that I punch in and punch out and I get a paycheck every 2 weeks for my hours. Hard work in itself is not going to pay off unless your skills are sharp enough to get you to overcome the obstacles you're facing and get to the closing table.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt, I'm going to share 8 skills that over all the years of helping agents build 6 and 7-figure incomes, that have to be mastered in sequential order. And if they're
Love
not
it.
mastered in sequential order, when a market adjusts, like we're experiencing right now, they find that their business was, well, let's just say built on a deck of cards. It was built on stilts versus strong foundation. And so the first skill is show up daily. Now, I'm not sure why this one's hard in our industry, but it's number one. Just show up daily. Do the activities that generate income, which is simply 5 things. And what we know and we teach is that if we work an 40-hour week, we're full time, and we spend 80% of our day, which in math would be 6 hours of an 8-hour day, doing these 5 activities, guaranteed 6 figures is your floor. If you spend 80% of your workday, no matter what that workday means, doing these 5 activities I'm about to share, guaranteed that 6 figures is your floor. And those 5 activities are practice and role play, generate leads, which means we speak to people we don't know, follow up on leads, which 80% of our appointments will come from following up, go on appointments, and negotiate contracts. Well, the beautiful part of this model is that if we don't have an appointment and we don't have anything to negotiate, 6 hours of an 8-hour day should be practicing, speaking to people we don't know, and following up with the people we do. That's it. Now, the beautiful part is I didn't tell you or give you direction on how much or what the ratios are. See, that's where you as the entrepreneur can do the math. At the beginning of your career, or if you don't have the level of confidence, spend a lot more time practicing what to say. Because, Matt, we both know the worst time to think about what to say is when you're about to say it. So in step number 1 is show up. I don't know why that one's so difficult in this business, but show up daily and follow a schedule. Now, that word is dirty in this industry. It gets people anxiety. And I respect that because you just have a dysfunctional relationship with a schedule. A schedule doesn't have to be rigid. It should be for a best practice, but it doesn't have to be. If you have responsibilities in the morning, attack those responsibilities and then know exactly what is in your day for the rest of the day. When you know what you need to do, you understand the life hack that is all humans on this earth have one thing in common. There's just one thing. And it's that we all have 24 hours in a day. And so if there's a finite time, that means that what we say yes to, we say no to something else. And most of us say no to the activities that will generate the income, which is why we got into this business in the first place, for unlimited income. But many professional real estate agents have been employees their whole life. And following a schedule was I either get fired or I keep my job. And so the moment that we become a CEO of our own business, that one rule goes right out the window. So the first skill to master in this business is showing up daily, following a schedule that fits you, and doing the 5 activities that absolutely will move your financial future forward. Which brings me to number 2. Embrace repetitious boredom. Now, this second skill is challenging because we got into this business for the freedom and the flexibility, and the freedom and flexibility is exactly why 80% of professional real estate agents fail. Because embracing repetitious boredom isn't sexy. But that's why it's the second skill. The first skill, show up, know what you need to do, build a schedule. The second skill is embracing that my job is to speak to people I know, speak to people I don't know. When they say this, I say this. When they say this, I say this. The second part of this second skill is track your numbers, which is a skill because there's plenty of agents who crush it, who don't track their numbers. Yet the moment that they hit a brick wall, the moment that their income starts to slide, every conversation is an emotional one versus a logical one. And when we track our numbers, we can improve. And when we track and report to a coach like Matt and myself, you could exponentially improve, which is why embracing repetitious boredom and tracking consistently is the second skill sequentially we must master. Which brings in number 3. We start to set appointments, the skill of handling objections and closing for appointments. Not, oh, I'll follow up with you later, or sure, I'll call you tomorrow, or oh, yeah, next week for sure. It's closing for appointments and learning the handlers necessary to meet with more people that are ready, willing, and able, which then moves us to number 4. Number 4 of 8, skills that must be mastered sequentially. So we show up, number 1. Number 2, we embrace repetitious boredom. They say this, we say this. They say this, we say this. Number 3 is that we start to set appointments. And number 4, for those of you that do set appointments consistently, this one's gonna be a warm knife through butter. Skill number 4 is start to learn the skill of pre-qualifying buyers and sellers. It becomes a skill when you get blasted enough times and you self-discover that there's a better way. You learn this skill when you miss enough soccer games with people who start to ghost you. Yes, when you miss your kids' soccer games. Pre-qualifying is one of the most important skills. And when it becomes a sixth sense, that's when you know you've mastered the skill, when you can ask a series of questions and know the power behind each one of the dialogues. Number 5, the 5th skill is presentation skills. Using canned presentations so that you're in and out of a listing appointment in 45 minutes, not 2.5 hours. Because being in this game as long as I have, The longer you're sitting at a listing appointment, the less likely you're going to take the listing. And make no mistake, we don't get listings. In this business, we take them, especially the qualified ones, which brings us back to 4 and 5. 4 is qualifying, the skill of qualifying buyers and sellers. And number 5 is going on presentations. The skill of leveraging a canned buyer consultation to get buyer broker agreements signed, and listing appointment presentations to be in and out of there in under an hour with the price that we know will move the property in the market. Or another way of saying it is having the property absorbed. Which brings us to number 6, sequential. It's learning how to price property and getting price adjustments. A very different skill than taking listings. Very different skill. Many of our colleagues take listings all the time. I'll tell you what, here in Miami, condos, 7 out of 10, 70% expire. 3 out of 10 listings in South Florida that go on the MLS expire. 50% of single families. This is why Matt and I wrote Sales Rocket Coaching, to help agents like you navigate the real estate market in a time that no one's talking about how to get price adjustments. Price adjustments are the great equalizer in today's real estate market, because learning how to price property, cool, yeah, that's a CMA. Communicating with sellers week after week after week after week after week and getting price adjustments of 5 to 10% every time, skill. A very different skill than showing up every day. A very different skill than repetitious boredom. A very different skill than qualifying buyers and sellers. Which brings us to number 7, juggling multiple transactions. Juggling multiple transactions through leverage. Because nobody wins an award working 80 hours a week. Once you execute on the first 6, you'll have business. You'll have more listings. You'll have buyers that are ready, willing, and able to write offers. Well, now we have to learn the skill of juggling, of having time off, which is number 8. Taking time off as a skill, and juggling multiple transactions, leveraging a transaction coordinator, bringing on our first hire as a director of operations. This becomes the next skill. And then I teased you on number 8, which is the skill of taking time off. Be where your feet are, because we do not win awards in this business saying I work 7 days a week. We teach a model called the 1-3-7. Take 1 day off a week at the very least. 1 3-day weekend per month. Fun fact, most months have a holiday that makes a 3-day weekend. And take 1 7-day. Shut off. You don't have to go anywhere. It could be a staycation, but shut off and build all your systems around your ability to take off and your business doesn't implode. The skill of taking time off. So really, I'm busy is just not mastering the skill of being effective. What do you think about that, Matt?
I want everyone to imagine a real estate agent. Maybe their name is Rachel, let's say. You might know Rachel. Heck, you might even be Rachel. Rachel is the agent who's constantly following up with leads. Following up, but I can't get them to commit to an appointment. Can't get them to agree to meet with me. Rachel's, running around town with sellers, maybe taking overpriced listings and just feeling beat up because she can't get a price reduction or improvement. And Rachel, she's working in a role where she's avoids picking up the phone when she sees it's a seller because she anticipates that she's going to met with aggression or frustration, and they're not happy with their home sale, or a buyer that can't get their offer accepted. Rachel's burnt out, and Rachel's blaming the market. Now, if Rachel sounds familiar, there's hope, because there's also another type of agent. There's a let's call her Sandy. There's a Sandy. Now, Sandy is on the phone a lot, but she's effective. Sandy knows what it takes to overcome objections. And Sandy is using the appropriate language to set appointments, not just follow up. Sandy's going on appointments, but not every appointment who raises their hands, because she pre-qualifies. She wants to meet with people and is getting in front of people that want to buy or sell now. Sandy's proactively bulletproofing her transactions and getting them to the closing table, because she understands that the amount of hours, as Lee said, that she puts in does not mean a paycheck. And Sandy knows also that what she's doing each day is going to lead to her success, not the market. Sandy is the type of agent that we have had graduate from Sales Rocket Coaching. Our program that we put together that goes through every single thing that we've talked about today. And whether you've been in this business for 1 month, 1 year, or 10 years, is focused on the fundamentals, the things that are tried and true. Be like a Sandy.
And the reality, Matt, is we give you word for word buyer and seller scripts that don't sound robotic. Objection handlers that work because we use them. We break down the psychology of why you say what you say, not just do this, the psychology of here's exactly why you ask, please briefly describe the home to me. We teach versatility on why you would say certain things to a driver and why you would slow things down and give more detail to an analytical. Because versatility is the ability to adapt to a variety of people in a variety of ways. Role play groups, community, pre-qualifying systems are all part of the system that Matt and I built in Sales Rocket, because we don't just throw scripts at you, we break them down. Teach you how to think so you can get what you want when you want it as an agent, adapt in this market, and respond with real conversations. Because the worst time to think of what to say is when you're saying it. Because when you are skilled as a professional real estate agent, everything gets easier. Less chasing, less stress, more confidence, more conversations.
I don't know how many times we've said it in this webinar, but this is the fundamentals game. The market is changing, and if it hasn't changed in your market yet, guess what? It's coming. The best agents, the one that are going to be able to weather the storm and not just survive, but actually thrive. They're not winging it. They know what they need to do, and they're practicing it. They're focused on their skills because they understand that's a great separator. So if you're working hard, putting in the hours, but still feel broke, it's probably not because of your effort. You got great work ethic. Awesome. It's because there's some sort of gap in one of the 3 fundamentals that we covered today.
And so ultimately, if you learn one thing today, let it be this. If there's one thing that you learned today, let it be this. You don't need more time. You don't need more time in your day. You need more focus. Focus on the right people to call, the right systems. You do the same thing every time for everybody. The right skills, which is the warm knife through butter, building versatility into the dialogues, learning when to pause, when to have a voice inflection, when to make them curious, when to talk with authority. These are all variables, and Matt and I are opening up the doors to Sales Rocket 3.0, our third launch, which is our most powerful launch yet. Because in the first two launches, our students didn't get results. They got testimonials of sharing one win after another, taking $7 million listings when they never called an expired before. Because when you have the right systems, the confidence, the skills, the support, the community, your business will change fast, getting you paid in 90 days. So ultimately, for those of you that are still on here, for the agent who wants direction, the one who's tired of doing everything, but ready to do the work that works. Just imagine it's 90 days from now, and you have 3, 5, 6 deals in escrow. Not because you worked harder, but because you did exactly what brings you transactions and commissions. Matt, one of our students said as a testimonial, before Sales Rocket, I was lost in the noise. I was lost in the noise. And now I have a plan, and I'm on track to have the best year ever. So if they're ready, if you are ready to stop guessing, text SRC to 55444. Text SRC to 55444, and we'll get you the details to the 24 modules of Sales Rocket Coaching. And here it is. Super stoked. Anything you want to close this out with, Matt?
They can find the Path to Payday tool that we teased in the Facebook group. And to learn more about Sales Rocket Coaching and understand how the fundamentals are going to impact their business, as you said, text SRC to 55444. Thank you so much, Lee. I love teaching with you and pouring into agents around North America. I look forward to an incredible group as we start a new session in just a few weeks. And at our next Glover U event, I would love to meet you in person. Thanks, guys.